is a KCAL 9 sports presentation.
It's time for Dodger Baseball. Live from Dodger Stadium, KCAL 9 presents the Dodgers as they take on the Angels. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant Tuesday evening to you. Here we go again, the Dodgers and Angels in their final televised exhibition game. They have one more tomorrow, Wilson against Eovaldi, but tonight it'll be Irvin Santana going up against Aaron Harang. They're good to get in shape. They're in shape now for quite a couple of weeks, but the important stuff is just around the corner. The Angels will open up with Kansas City, and the Dodgers go down the road, open up with San Diego. They have a chance to get off on the right foot this year because the Dodgers handled San Diego very well last year, beat them 13 of 18 meetings, won 6 out of 9 at Petco Park. So although this is a mere exercise, they are getting ready, and opening day on the road is just around the corner. And of course, opening day on the road is like going to somebody else's party. The real opening day will be here April the 10th. We'll get to the ball game, but a whole lot more first, right after this. Start of Game 2 of the 3-game exhibition series with the Angels. Exhibition's over by tomorrow, and the Dodgers open on the road Thursday in San Diego. We'll cover all 4 games of the series, 3 on Prime Ticket, 1 on KCAL 9, and then following the 4 on the road, the Dodgers come home to celebrate their 50th anniversary at Dodger Stadium, the opener with the Pittsburgh Pirates, 1 p.m. on Tuesday, April 10th. We'll be back with the ball game. Goodwin, Irvin Santana, and Aaron Harang coming up right after this. you by Jack in the Box, where you can get anything on the menu. On KCAL 9 is brought to you by Jack in the Box, where you can get anything on the menu any time of the day. And by your Southern California Toyota dealers. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good evening to you, wherever you may be. The Dodgers and the Angels concluding their spring training tomorrow. This will be our last telecast, and, of course, tomorrow's game will be on radio. And then both clubs will go to where it really counts. The Angels open up at home against Kansas City, and the Dodgers will make the journey down to San Diego and open up Thursday afternoon at Petco Park. For Don Mattingly, trying to break a tie, trying to finish above 500 in spring training. The Dodgers have to go back to 2007. The last time they wound up in the black, they were 17, 16, and a tie. This has been a haberdashery year. The Dodgers with 4 ties. They also have won 14 and lost 14. But all the numbers really are for naught, because for Mike Scioscia and his ball club, they have won 1, lost 1. They've had a tie. They've had a very good spring, inspired, no doubt, by the presence of the great Albert Pujols. They've won 18 games in spring training. Eric Ibar opens up at shortstop, and Bobby Abreu gets a chance to start in left field. Albert Pujols at first base. Torrey Hunter is in right field. Vernon Wells in center. Alberto Callaspo will be at third base. Meiser Izturis at second. Bobby Wilson is the catcher. He's behind Chris Iannetta. And the pitcher is Irvin Magic Santana. On the mound for the Dodgers getting ready is big Aaron Harang. Aaron is 6'7" and checks in at about 260 pounds. When you do some research on Harang, you always are running into weight. They talk about in 2003, he lost 20 pounds. In 2004, he lost 15. 2006, he got a mountain bike to try and cut down. In 2007, he lost 17. And in 2009, he lost somewhere between 20 and 25. So you get the idea that the big man with fluctuating weight, but he's also been a winner, and he has been a workhorse. If you go back for a couple of years from 2005 to 2007, Aaron Harang averaged 226 innings a year. So the 14-game winner ready to face Eric Ibar out of Boni in the Dominican Republic, the younger brother of former Dodger prospect, and that would be Willie Ibar. And he takes the first pitch a little low, and we have a 1-ball, no strike count unless that caught the corner, and it did. So 0-1 the count to Ibar, who put in a good year last year, hitting .279. The strike one pitch on the way, big swing and a miss, and the count 0-2. So Harang jumps out in front. A lovely evening, 66 degrees, and really not even a zephyr to stir the flags in center field. No balls and 2 strikes to Eric Ibar, switch hitter, batting left-handed. Harang over the top and misses low and inside. For Ibar, at 5'10", maybe 170, grew up in the Dominican Republic and watched everything that Rafael Furcal did. Always wanted to grow up and play shortstop like Furcal. The 1-2 pitch, a look, and it's down and away for ball 2, and the count 2-2. So Aaron Harang, who figures to give the Dodgers a couple of hundred innings, he's been very fortunate in his career. He has very good mechanics, so he's never had any arm trouble at all. And he rocks on the rubber, and the 2-2 pitch over the top, and it's fouled away. If you look at Harang as he works on Ibar, he had a little elbow strain about 4 years ago. Then in 2009, he had a midseason emergency appendectomy. 2 years ago, he had some lower back pain, but nothing serious as far as the arm is concerned. Pitch is foul back again. One of the reasons, despite coming off last year a stress fracture in his right foot, you can tell he's avoided major elbow and shoulder problems because he comes directly over the top. So he gets his back into his pitches and minimizes some of the effort on the arm. 2-2 pitch over the top, and a fastball sliced foul down the line and out of play. So Eric Ibar, a good solid leadoff man, signed by the Angels 10 years ago as a free agent. Spent a little time, actually just 1 game in Salt Lake City last year. 2-2 pitch to Ibar, and the left-hand hitter swings, fly ball to right field. Going back on it is Rivera, and makes the catch for the out. Seeing Juan Rivera in right field reminds us to tell you that Andre Ethier not in the starting lineup. Upset stomach. So Rivera goes into right field, and Tony Gwynn is in left. One of our favorite hitters for I can't tell you how long has been Bobby Abreu. I remember when Bobby first came up to the big leagues, and he really made a tremendous impression. And that's a while ago. I mean, he came up with the Astros in 1996. Left-hand hitter takes the strike. Bobby is an even 6, about 215, from Venezuela. Abreu talking about his hometown near Maracay. There's a rainforest there. Strike 1 pitch, and that's a little low, 1-1, with white-faced monkeys and anteaters and all kinds of wildlife. But somehow along the line, he signed a professional contract in 1991. And here he is. The 1-1 pitch on the way, and Bobby takes low, ball 2. He has put in some very big years in his career. Had as many as 31 home runs when he played for the Phillies, but heck, that's 11 years ago. So he's been remarkable and very durable. The 2-1 pitch, and Abreu takes low, ball 3, 3-1. So Aaron Harang got a fly ball off the bat of Eric Ibar. Now working on Abreu and trying not to think about the on-deck hitter, who happens to be Albert Pujols. 3-1 pitch, swung on, ground ball right side. Mark Ellis is up with it there. And with that, we have 2 down, and Pujols coming on. Albert 0 for 3 last night as he gets ready. You know, when you think of Albert Pujols, you realize he has 445 home runs. He's one of only 7 players in history who hit 400 home runs through the age of 31. There are only 2 of the players that hit that many, while also batting .320, and they happen to be Jimmy Fox and Albert Pujols. The amazing thing about Pujols, and it's held up throughout his entire career, as he looks at an off-speed pitch that misses, he struck out 27% less often than any of the other great players. Now the 2-0 pitch on the way to Pujols. Harang ready, back with a fastball fouled away, and out in front of it was Pujols to hit it right off the edge of the bat. Albert Pujols, believe it or not, as a rookie, struck out 93 times. Since then, he has never struck out more than 69 times. He raises a fly ball into shallow left field. D. Gordon goes out, angles a bit, makes the catch for the out. So a 1-2-3 inning for Aaron Harang. And at the end of half an inning, Angels nothing, Dodgers coming up. The Angels fail to score as they go out in order, and the Dodger lineup shapes up this way. D. Gordon leading off at shortstop and Mark Ellis at second base. Matt Kemp in the number 3 slot in center, and James Loney hits cleanup at first base. Juan Rivera has moved over to right field. Tony Gwynn hitting back of him is in left. Juan Uribe at third. A.J. Ellis the catcher. Aaron Harang on the mound. On the mound for the Angels, Irvin Santana. Santana, with the name Irvin, also picks up the nickname Magic. And Santana, a 17-game winner 2 years ago, had troubles last year and finished up with 11. He's from the same town in the Dominican Republic that produced Jose Rio, Jose Guillen, and Raul Mondesi. And he gets a pitch in for a strike, and the count 0-1. Santana, 6'2", 185, has a no-hitter in his dossier. Meanwhile, he jams Gordon, who fouls it back, and the count 0-2. One other name, when you start mentioning about Rio and Guillen and Mondesi coming from his hometown, and he'll say, hey, don't forget Ubaldo Jimenez. The strike 2 pitch, ground ball to short, in a hurry is Ibar to get rid of it in time. So Gordon, who makes all the ground balls close at first, one away. And the batter now will be Mark Ellis. So Gordon going back to his spot in the dugout for the moment, and Mark Ellis checking in. Mark Ellis out of Rapid City, South Dakota. He's been with the A's, had quite a career with them, even though he was originally selected by the Kansas City Royals out of the University of Florida. Santana delivers, and it's off the plate, 1 ball and no strike. You may remember the Oakland A's had a very valuable second baseman named Dick Green, who helped them to 3 straight World Series titles in the 70s. Well, Dick Green came from Rapid City. Green says, however, that Ellis hits the ball a lot more often than I did, and he's also a lot faster. 2-0 pitch, and that's in there for a strike, and the count 2-1. Irvin Santana, among other things, signed with the Angels. He was supposedly 16, but he was actually 17. And the next pitch is whacked into right center for a base hit. Vernon Wells up with it, gets it back in. So a 1-out single to center by Mark Ellis, and that will bring up Matt Kemp. Kemp has had a very solid spring. In fact, there are several Dodgers who have really sparkled. D. Gordon and Andre Ethier certainly come to mind. And as long as Kemp is healthy, they figure they've got a winner. Because he put those huge numbers up last year, 324. 39 home runs, 126 runs batted in. Ellis off the bag at first. Santana delivers, and the pitch is in there for a strike, and the count 0-1. Matt has James Loney hitting back of him. No balls and 1 strike. Ellis held on by Pujols. Kemp waiting in the outfield deep, about straight away. And the pitch low and inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. When Santana was signed, his name then was Johan Santana, and he was born in November of '83. And after the U.S. officials scrutinized the documents, he was a little different. The pitch to Kemp is low. His true name was Irvin Santana, not Johan, and he was born in January instead of November. But of course, that's an old story. So many players coming out of the Dominican Republic not only have been kind of hiding their age, but also using names of other people, relatives, or just close pals. The 2-1 pitch, there goes Ellis, hit and run foul ball up to the right, second deck, and the count 2-2. One thing about Matt Kemp and any Dodger hitter tonight, you have to be aware that Santana likes to throw in a hurry. You got a fastball, change, and a slider. They had to really work because he had a head jerk when he first started, but they've been able to calm that down. Why does he pitch so fast? Because he said, I don't want anybody to think about what I'm pitching. Here's the 2-2 pitch coming up to Matt Kemp. Santana's pitch is swung on and missed. Slider down and dirty, and down goes Matt. So 2 out in the first inning, and James Loney coming up. No score, first inning. Seems like an easy thing to do to get a young pitcher to eliminate a head jerk, but it takes a lot of work. And now here is Loney. Dodgers are hoping, among other things, to see the Loney that they had a look at back in 2006. Of course, he finished up very well last year. 288 and 12 home runs. James, a chopper up the middle. Behind the bag is Ibar. Flips to first in time. And that's the inning. For the Dodgers, no runs, 1 hit, 1 left. And at the end of an inning, no score. Stadium, no score in the ball game. Dodgers and Angels. Aaron Harang working up against Irvin Santana. Torrey Hunter will start it off, then Vernon Wells and Alberto Callaspo. Hunter hitting .339 with 11 RBIs takes a strike, and the count 0-1. Torrey, a remarkable outfielder. How so? Well, he won 9 straight Gold Gloves. The strike one pitch, low and away. If you wonder, the record for outfielders for Gold Gloves, 12 by Willie Mays and Roberto Clemente. Here's the 1-1 pitch coming up. Torrey waiting. Harang delivers, and a sinking fastball is low, 2-1. Harang throws both the two-seamer and the four-seamer. Slider and a change with a few curveballs, but not a lot. Next pitch is popped in the air, foul, back of the plate. Coming over is Ellis, but AJ can only watch it go back in about 4 or 5 rows. 2-2 the count. So Torrey Hunter leading off, followed by Vernon Wells and Alberto Callaspo. By the way, if you wonder about who has the greatest collection at one position for Gold Gloves, Greg Maddux. Here's the 2-2 pitch, swung on, fouled away. Maddux had 18 Gold Gloves. He had to really build himself quite a trophy case. 18 of them. 2-2 the count to Torrey Hunter. Back comes Harang, and it's promptly banged to straightaway center, high enough for Kemp to catch it right about at his nose. He had a little spin on that. It started to sink, and it was wobbling just a hair. So Hunter, a line drive out to center, one away, and Vernon Wells coming in. Vernon Wells won Gold Gloves 3 straight years. The last one, however, was back in 2006. Right-hand batter looks at a strike, and the count 0-1. Wells probably a little concerned tonight. He's from Shreveport, Louisiana, makes his home in Arlington, Texas. Now the strike one pitch, grounded just fair on the chalk and down the right field line, and Wells into second base, turning and holding on with a double. The reason we know he has to be concerned, first of all, if you were not checking the weather today, there was a hellacious tornado in Texas and right at Arlington. Number one, a surprise. Texas actually played in Arlington tonight against a team from Mexico. But also, the tornado is heading towards Louisiana and possibly Shreveport. So first is home, and then his home place. So here now is Alberto Callaspo battling with Mark Trumbo at third base. Harang ready, comes to his hitter, and the left-hand batter takes the strike, and the count 0-1. Callaspo, of course, with Trumbo. Trumbo would normally be a first baseman, but he had to move over upon the arrival of Albert Pujols. Callaspo's been around. The Angels signed him to his contract back in 2001. And one thing you know, he is truly a contact hitter. Harang looks back, comes to the plate, and it's fouled away. If you go back through Callaspo's entire career, going all the way from his beginning in 2002, 1 year he struck out 50 times, and that was when he was with the Royals in 2009. He just doesn't strike out. Callaspo, very close pal of Eric Ibar. Alberto waiting at the plate, switch hitter batting left-handed, and pulls away on a pitch inside, and the count 1-2. So Aaron Harang, who knows what it's like. You hear about all the, the high-priced players. During the off-season before spring training of 2001, Aaron Harang was working in a Costco store. Here's the 1-2 pitch on the way, and that's off the plate. 2-2 the count to Callaspo. Callaspo signed by the Angels as a free agent, but he spent 3 years with the Diamondbacks.
3 years with the Royals, and this is his 3rd year with the Angels. And all the time people marveled his ability to make contact. Well, Harang has 2 strikes on him. We shall see. Alberto waiting with Meiser is Turris on deck. The 2-2 pitch on the way, swung on, and would you believe it, he struck out. But then again, it's spring training. So with Wells at second and 1 out, Callaspo does the one thing Socia never expected. He strikes out. And the batter now will be Meiser is Turris. So as Turris bends at the waist, bends at the knees just to shorten things up a little bit. Meiser takes very high, ball 1, 1-0. Of course, when he stands erect, he's 5'8". So by the time he bends over and at the knees, he doesn't give you much up there. He's a half brother of Cesar Izturis, who played long and well with the Dodgers. 1 ball and no strikes, and the pitch low, ball 2, 2-0. One of the things that makes Izturis so valuable, he can play third, short, and second. However, he's made 9 trips to the disabled list since 2005, 3 trips in 2010. The 2-0 pitch missing for ball 3, 3-0 the count. So Izturis, 32 years old come September, working against Aaron Harang. No score. We're in the top of the 2nd inning with 2 out. Vernon Wells double, big bouncer down the right field line. The next pitch is high, so Izturis draws the walk, and the catcher Bobby Wilson will be coming up. For Don Mattingly, nodding almost in approval. Take your shot against Wilson as opposed to a pesky hitter like Izturis. Bobby Wilson figures to back up Chris Iannetta. Not much of a hitter. That's why they got Iannetta, who has some power. Bobby's from Florida, went to community college in St. Petersburg. In fact, he was a teammate on the same high school with Casey Hotchman. Remember, Hotchman was a great hope with the Angels, but it never worked out. So here's Wilson. And the first pitch to him, a little low, ball 1, 1-0. Bobby was drafted by the Giants in June of 2001, but he opted to go to community college instead. He was the junior college player of the year in Florida that year. He was signed by Casey Hotchman's father, Tom, who was an Angel scout. 1 ball and no strikes. Way out in front of an off-speed pitch, and they count 1-1. Harang has a very good change. Bobby stands an even 6 and 210. On Sunday, Easter Sunday, he will be 29 years old. Though we've had Christmas babies, now we have a bunny boy. And the 1-1 pitch is taken for a strike. Bobby Wilson throughout his career has never been much of a hitter. 189 last year, 229 in 40 games the year before. However, he's a fine defensive catcher, and he's up there with Wells at second and Izturis at first. The 1-2 pitch on the way, and Bobby takes low and off the plate. 2 balls and 2 strikes. So Aaron Harang, who made 17 pitches in the 1st inning, laboring a little bit here in the 2nd. For Bobby Wilson, he's one of those rare players. He got a base hit his first major league at bat, and he gave the game ball to his father, who had flown all day to be at the game. 2 balls and 2 strikes the count. Out of a stretch, Harang, and a foul ball up third, out of play. Wilson with that swing shows you very short, quick stroke. For Harang, this will be his 23rd pitch of the inning. That would make it 40 pitches for him so far in the game. 2-2 pitch on the way. Ground ball to shortstop. Coming up is Gordon. Throws on the run to get him. And that'll be that. No runs, 1 hit. There was also a walk and 2 left. So at the end of an inning and a half, no score. Ball game. It's not the kind of a date that you would remember, but it turned out to be a somewhat memorable moment in baseball. If you go back to 1974, the Dodgers had a pitcher named Bruce Ellingson. Didn't really make any waves. Bruce was traded to the Cleveland Indians on this day, April 3rd, 1974, for Pedro Guerrero. Maybe the best trade the Dodgers ever made. Ellingson was 24 and never really did what the Dodgers thought he might do. Guerrero was only 17. He finally worked his way from 74 to 78 before he got to the big leagues and with the Dodgers. Rivera takes a strike. 1981 is when Pedro nailed the job as a regular. He had 5 career All-Star selections. Rivera tries to time and just does check up, but it's going to cost him a strike, and the count 0-2. And Pedro Guerrero was co-MVP of the World Series when the Dodgers in '81 beat the Yankees in 6 games. And Pedro was a very valuable player. Here's the strike 2 pitch on the way, lined into left field. That is going to drop for a base hit. Over to get it is Bobby Abreu. Rivera's gone for 2, and he is in there. A leg double as one veteran takes advantage over the other. For Bobby Abreu, a little embarrassed over the fact that Rivera was able to take the extra base. So a leadoff double. And the throw was on the money, but it took a while to get there. So Rivera is in there. And Abreu, who's not playing very much. In fact, it's been a sore spot with Abreu and the Angels. I think if I read the papers correctly, the Angels had said to Abreu something about you're going to have 400 at-bats this year. Well, at the rate things are going with the acquisition of Pujols and a solid outfield, it doesn't figure Bobby is going to get 400 at-bats at all. They pull up the corners now, and the first pitch is outside to Tony Gwynn. A threat to bunt, not to sacrifice as much as bunting for a base hit. Anyway, let's just get back to Guerrero for a moment, since this is an exhibition game. During Pete, as they called him, during Pete's career, talk about how important and valuable he was. Gwynn hits one down the left field line, foul ball. Guerrero played 573 games at first base. He played 541 games in right field. He played 373 games at third. And the one tragic moment for Pete was the fact that he was traded to the Cardinals before the Dodgers won the 1988 pennant and World Series. Pete Guerrero became a Dodger on this day, and he was something. Meanwhile, 1 ball and 1 strike to Gwynn. One hopper down to Pujols, makes a throw to his shortstop Ibar, who is able to put the tag on Rivera. What a fine play by Albert Pujols. A blur, and Pujols short hopped it, fired to Ibar. Rivera tried to get back and couldn't do it. Tough play for a first baseman, especially right-handed. In other words, if Pujols were left-handed, he'd have short-hopped that and without turning his body, thrown down to the shortstop. But when he short-hopped, being right-handed, he had to turn away and make the throw, and he did it all to perfection. So Rivera, who burned Abreu, is now burned by Pujols. Holding at first is Gwynn, and the batter now is Juan Uribe. Uribe, throughout his career, has certainly been a first ball swinger. So we'll see what happens here. With 1 out, Gwynn at first, Santana out of a stretch. Irvin set, right-handed deals, and he moves his hitter off the plate. 1 ball and no strike. Irvin Santana, we talked about the fact he pitched a no-hitter. It was the 27th of July last year. That was the first no-hitter for the Angels in about 27 years, and he did it against Cleveland. Struck out 10, allowed only 2 runners. There was an error on the leadoff batter in the first inning, and later on a walk. Uribe fouls the next pitch away, and they count 1 ball and 1 strike. By the way, against Cleveland, it was the first no-hitter at Progressive Field. That was a ballpark that opened back in 1994 when it was called Jacobs Field. So Santana with a no-hitter on his dossier, working now on Uribe, and A.J. Ellis on deck. No score, bottom of the 2nd inning. Gwynn off the bag, cautious lead, retreats a little bit. Now Santana out of a stretch. Turns, throws to first. Gwynn diving back to the bag. So Uribe, who had that off year last year when he hit only .204, battling against Irvin Santana. No score, bottom of the 2nd inning. Angels had Wells double to get to second base, and Rivera double and nailed here in the 2nd inning. There goes Gwynn. The pitch is high. The throw is down there waiting. Great release by Bobby Wilson. So maybe he's not going to knock down the fences like a Mike Napoli, but that was great release. Gwynn had a reasonably good jump, and boy, that ball was down there waiting for him. Good tag, and that'll be that. So 2 out, 2-1 to count to Uribe. 2 nice defensive plays by Pujols and now Wilson. And the 2-1 pitch swung on and missed. Uribe straddling the plate. He swung so hard. Uribe had his big year with home runs with the Giants 2 years ago when he hit 24. And the 2-2 pitch is swung on and missed, and down he goes. So the Dodgers really spin their wheels in the 2nd inning. Thanks to Pujols and Wilson, no score. Dodger Stadium. The concluding exhibition series is tomorrow afternoon at noon between these two. The Angels go back to Anaheim, get ready to open up against Kansas City, and the Dodgers will go to San Diego and open up on Thursday afternoon. And of course that will be Clayton Kershaw on the hill, and he'll be going up against Edinson Volquez. Came over from Cincinnati. We were talking about Santana changing his name. I think Volquez was Julio Rojas when they first signed him. Anyway, here is Santana, and he is taking, and that's the word. We started it the first time we saw the Angels. The fact that Mike Scioscia will not allow a pitcher to swing at a pitch. He's afraid of injury. So in spring training, Angel pitchers do nothing but watch. And there would be a fine if they forgot and swung, and Santana just standing there. You would expect a pigeon to land on an Angel pitcher's shoulders, at least in spring training. That'll do it. Okay, thanks for dropping by. And Santana walks back to the dugout. You know Clayton Kershaw, sure you do. He won the Cy Young Award last year. He'll be presented with the trophy before the game, April 11th, when the Dodgers and Pirates are here at 7:10. Hope you'll be there. Receive your very own Clayton Kershaw Cy Young replica, presented by StubHub. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions. That will be a lovely reminder of Clayton's great year. So one away, and the batter now is Eric Ibar, and a 1-ball no strike count after Santana made the perfunctory trip to home plate. It was most frustrating, I think, for all of the Angel pitchers to be ordered not to swing. It would be Dan Haren. I mean, Dan Haren is a heck of a good hitter. He's a marvelous pitcher, but he's a very, very good hitter. Used as a pinch hitter when he was with Arizona. He was a DH at Pepperdine, and he was forced to go up to home plate with handcuffs. Not allowed to swing. But as Dan looks on with a big grin, pitched exceptionally well again last night. Meanwhile, at the plate, Ibar fouls it away. 2-1. Yeah, Dan Haren. He is quite a pitcher. Graduate of Pepperdine. Big gun with Arizona. And now the second big gun in the pitching artillery of the Angels behind Jared Weaver. Though Ibar waiting. And the 2-1 pitch on the way. Swung on, chopper foul outside of first and down the line. And the count 2 balls and 2 strikes. Ibar 5'10" and 170. He can be feisty. A couple of years ago, he was hit by a pitch, charged the plate, and charged from the plate to the mound with a bat in his hands. A big bench clearing brawl. And then what was important after all that stuff, 3 days later he played the same team, he hit for the cycle, and he scored the winning run in an 18-inning game that finished just a little before 3 o'clock in the morning. Ground ball to Loney. So for a guy who was in a battle and to come back 3 days later with a game like that, that's Eric Ibar. Loney, a nice play. Abreu. 2 down here in the third, and Bobby Abreu coming up. Abreu grounded out. Bobby Abreu had a string of playing 150 games or more, and it was broken last year. He missed by 8. He went from 1998 through 2010. The 1-0 pitch on the way. That's a little low ball too. Had he played 8 more games last year, he would have passed Willie Mays for the most consecutive seasons with 150 or more games played. The 2-0 pitch to Bobby swung on, ground ball to the right side. Mark Ellis should make the play and does. So it's a 1-2-3 inning for Aaron Harang as he just rolls along. And at the end of 2.5 innings, no score. Score in the ball game. We have not had a runner get to third. We've had 2 men get to second. Irvin Santana and Aaron Harang. Santana getting ready to pitch to A.J. Ellis, then Harang, and the leadoff man, D. Gordon. No runs, 1 hit for the Angels. No runs, 2 hits for the Dodgers. And here's A.J. Ellis, big boy out of Cape Girardeau in Missouri. Moved to Lexington, Kentucky. Into the windup goes Santana, and here we go. The first pitch low and away, ball 1. A little while ago, we were saying the Dodgers would hope to see the Loney of 2006, that particular game he had against Colorado. Dodgers would like to see a little more of 2010 from A.J. Ellis. In a series against Colorado, he didn't quite duplicate Loney, but he put in quite a show. A.J. takes a strike. It was a September series with Colorado. A.J. went 7 for 8. That was the first time a Dodger went 7 for 8 since Jim Gilliam in 1959. Gilliam went 7 for 8 against the Cubs. So that was quite a day in the life of A.J. Ellis. 2 balls and 2 strikes to A.J. Swings at a slider, doesn't get it, and down he goes. So Ellis chasing that good quick slider off the plate, and with 1 away, 3rd strikeout for Santana, and the batter now will be Aaron Harang. And looking at Santana's work in the past, as far as strikeouts are concerned, in the year when he won 17, he struck out 169. And there's a shot up the middle that almost took Santana's head off. So Aaron Harang, a bullet up the middle for a 1-out single. Too close for comfort. That thing just came right back over the right shoulder of Santana, the ever-present threat to any pitcher. So Harang at first, and D. Gordon coming up. I was thinking about D. Gordon the other day because I know a lot of people look at Gordon and say, will he be strong enough to hold up and play most of the year? D takes ball 1. So I looked up a few things. For instance, Ozzie Smith was 5'10". Gordon is 5'11". Ozzie was 160 pounds, and he was a workhorse. Little Phil Rizzuto of the Yankees was 5'6" and 150. Ground ball up the middle, under the glove of Ibar, off the glove of Callaspo, and everybody's safe, or as tourists. So a chopper up the middle, and Ibar trying to come up with it and get on the bag, came up empty, and then his tourist trying to back up, and he could get it off his foot. So the Dodgers on the error charge to Eric Ibar, have runners at first and second, 1 out, and the batter now is Mark Ellis. The smallest shortstop that I know I ever saw play was Freddie Patek. Freddie was 5'5". Do you remember him? And he checked in at 148 pounds. Meanwhile, 1 ball and no strikes the count to Mark Ellis, who singled to center in the first inning. No score in the third. Dodgers have had at least 1 man on base in every inning, but they've been unable to score. Now with 1 out, Santana in a bit of a jam, and Matt Kemp on deck. The next one in for a strike, and the count 1-1. So Mark Ellis with a base hit to center in the first inning finds Harang, tough man to score, on a single at second. The big pitcher with a short lead, and then the speed is Gordon at first. The 1-1 pitch on the way is swung on, line to center, coming up to make the catch is Wells, and the runners have to hold on. So Ellis hits the ball hard, but right at the center fielder, and now Matt Kemp.
Center fielder,
Kemp going down swinging at a slider in the first inning, coming up with 2 on, 2 out, no score, and third inning. Matt came into the game hitting .274 in spring training with 2 home runs and 12 runs batted in. No score, third inning, Dodgers and Angels. Harang, as we said, at 6'7", 260 pounds or so, will be a tough man to score. And an off-speed pitch in nicely for a strike, and the count 0-1. Santana has an above average changeup to go with the fastball and a very good slider. So Harang and Gordon wait. 0-1 the count on Kemp. Santana out of a stretch, and the strike 1 pitch. Matt tries to golf one low and inside, fouls it off, and he's a little angry at himself. I'm not quite sure if he is angry because he felt it was a pitch he could handle and let it get away, or if he's angry at being overly aggressive and swinging at a pitch that is not in the sweet spot of the strike zone. 0-2, but we do know he's a little annoyed. So Matt back up and waiting. Santana, who struck him out earlier, trying to put him away. Slider got him last time. This one is in the dirt. 1-2 the count. So Harang, who singled up the middle and almost got Santana with the line drive, is at second base. Gordon, who reached on the error, is at first. 2 out. And Matt Kemp waiting, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Dodgers no runs, 3 hits. Angels no runs, 1 hit. Angels scoring 12 runs last night against the Dodgers. And Bobby Wilson now out to talk to Santana. Santana, back in 2009 in February, signed a 4-year deal. So that contract goes through this year. Santana has been pitching professionally since 2001. Major leagues always with the Angels. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Kemp looks, and it's a little low, showing pretty good discipline to take that pitch, especially with 2 strikes. Santana's earlier problems, like so many young pitchers, a tendency to overthrow, occasionally fly open and collapse on his back leg. So he's had to work on that. Now pitch is swung on and missed, and down goes Kemp. So Matt strikes out twice. Here in the third, no runs, a hit, an error, 2 left, and at the end of 3, no score. Cal 9 is brought to you by your Southern California Honda dealers and by Time Warner Cable. Enjoy all the things you love better. Internet, TV, and home phone from Time Warner Cable. 4th inning here at Dodger Stadium. Tough ball game. No score. Angels and Dodgers with Aaron Harang going up against Irvin Santana. Harang got out of a scrape in the 2nd inning, gave up a double to Wells, retired the side in order in the 1st and in the 3rd. He's made 40 pitches in the first 2 and a total of 53 pitches through 3. In the old days, when you had a 4-man pitching staff, I remember that several Dodgers would pitch at least 7 innings in the last exhibition game. I remember one time in Vero Beach, Carl Erskine pitched 9 innings before starting the season. So here's Albert. Pujols 0 for 3 last night, popped up in the 1st inning tonight. Ball 1. 1-0 to Albert Pujols. We were talking about the things that he has done, and it's rather remarkable. This time a fly ball to deep center, but Kemp has it on his radar screen and makes the catch. Remember, Pujols going after a hitter like Williams, and Williams played until he was 42 years old. You know, Albert's already played 1,110 night games. He's faced 978 pitchers on 29 teams in 34 ballparks across 4 time zones. What a career. And as far as the Angels are concerned, he's just starting. Torrey Hunter lined out to center. 1 ball, 1 strike. Angels' only hit was the double by Wells. A bouncer down the first baseline, hit the chalk and went on down into right field. You know, you watch Aaron Harang work, and we've told you that he's a workhorse, that he's piled up a lot of innings. He has never really had arm trouble because his delivery takes most of the stress off the arm, since he gets the back into it and works directly over the top. 1-2. It might be a little surprising, talking about Harang, he can be found on the list of the top National League strikeout artists since 2004. You know, he's third. Fastball foul back. You certainly wouldn't think of that name, Aaron Harang, as the top number 3 strikeout pitcher in the league for the last 8. Who are the other 2? Roy Oswalt, then Carlos Zambrano, and Aaron Harang. Tried to take a little with that fastball. 3-2 the count. Down in the Dodger bullpen, young left-hander Scott Rice begins to warm up. High fly ball, straightaway center, very shallow. There's Kemp. So 2 out in the 4th inning, and Vernon Wells, who has the only hit for the Angels, coming up. Vernon Wells in his career is a .274 hitter, and he's hit 248 home runs. Remember, he came to the Angels last year when Mike Napoli and Juan Rivera went to the Blue Jays, acquiring Wells, who hits a comebacker. And that'll be that. So another nice inning for Aaron Harang. He's allowed 1 hit in 4 innings, and at the end of 3.5 innings, no score. To invite you to test drive a luxurious Lexus today. Visit Lexus.com. And by Sports Authority, the official sporting goods retailer of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Bottom of the 4th inning, no score. Aaron Harang has been the story tonight. He's made 63 pitches in 4 innings and has allowed just 1 hit. Whether he'll go any more remains to be seen. Loney, Rivera, and Gwynn coming up. We mentioned his last time at bat. They would love to see the Loney of 2006, particularly that 1 game against Colorado. But he hit the first pitch and grounded out. But it was September of 06. He went 4 for 5, 2 home runs, 9 runs batted in, including a grand slam. Ground ball down to his tourist, and just like that, Loney didn't hang around. 1 away. Don't forget, the Dodgers kick off the season on the road this Thursday in San Diego with the Padres. Can't make it down. Now you can watch the game live with all your friends at Dodger Stadium for free. You'll also enjoy discounted concessions and merchandise. Gates are open at 3, so go to Dodgers.com/viewing party. And welcome to the fun. And here's Rivera, who doubled to left. It was a leg double. Ground ball wide to third, dropped at the shortstop spot as Ibar tried to make the throw and couldn't do it. So Rivera, the former Angel, reaching base. And it will be an error. That means Ibar has committed 2 errors in the game thus far. So Ibar kicks 2. And the batter is Gwynn. Gwynn hit the ball very hard. It was short hopped by Pujols to turn what could have been a base hit into a fielder's choice by nailing Rivera at second base. So Tony at the plate, always a threat to bunt for a base hit. And the first pitch missing for ball 1. So Rivera at first. He burned Bobby Abreu early in the game. Rivera goes back to the Angels back to 2005. So he's had a good career with them. Slicing fly ball, it's going to drop into left field for a base hit. Rivera makes a turn and then holds on. Abreu was ready for him this time. So a fly ball single by Tony Gwynn. First and second, 1 out, and Juan Uribe coming up. Uribe struck out in the second inning, chasing a slider down and away in the dirt. We mentioned earlier about Irvin Santana and the fact he pitched the no-hitter against Cleveland 27th of July last year. That was the 8th individual Angel to join the no-hit club. That was started by Bo Belinsky, who pitched his first ever no-hitter for the Angels here at Dodger Stadium. In case you wonder, Nolan Ryan, who had 7 no-hitters in his career, pitched 4 as an Angel. He also, Santana, became the 6th Dominican to throw a no-hitter. Ball 1. Who were the others? Juan Marichal in 1963. The Dodgers, Ramon Martinez, 1995. Jose Jimenez, 1999. Ubaldo Jimenez, 2010. And Francisco Liriano last year. Foul ball. By the way, on that ball hitting the hole that was dropped by Ibar, they're going to call it a base hit and not an error. So that means Rivera is 2 for 2. And Ibar's committed just 1 error. So 2 on, 1 out. Uribe trying to move him along. A.J. Ellis, the catcher, on deck. Ball 2, 2-1. Ellis struck out his last at bat. So Uribe with the count 2 balls and 1 strike. Hard ground ball to third. They'll go to second for 1. Turn it to first. And Uribe is hit into a double play. No runs, 2 hits, 1 left. And at the end of 4, no score. Steiner and Rick Monday. We'd also like to welcome to the fold Dodger Radio AM 570 KLAC. That would be Fox Sports, and they'll be with us day in and day out throughout the year. So hello to Charlie and Rick, and welcome to 570. Meanwhile, the Dodgers make a couple of changes. Matt Guerrier, who had been bothered by a sore back earlier in spring training, and at third base, Jerry Hairston will take over for Juan Uribe. So Matt Guerrier pitching to Alberto Callaspo, then Meiser is Turris, and then Bobby Wilson. 0-1. Callaspo struck out in the second inning. As we mentioned, Mark Trumbo was the first baseman. Then Albert Pujols was signed. Trumbo then went over to play third. Of course, in the American League, they have the advantage. Trumbo can be the designated hitter, and Callaspo just play third base. And by the way, Callaspo last year hit .288. Hard ground ball to the hole. Nice pick by Ellis to get him. So Mark Ellis makes a fine defensive play to rob Callaspo, and Meiser Turris will be coming up. He really had to go back to get it and made the turn. Good play by Mark, and now Meiser Turris. Interesting that Callaspo and Eric Ibar are on the same team. They were teammates in Cedar Rapids back in 2003. They had the nickname Hermanos, brothers. That's a strike. 1-1. We're in the fifth inning, no score. By the way, talking about innings, this is something that popped up last night. Change away, 2-1. There is a bottom of the ninth inning. No, I mean, even if the Angels are trailing and make out in the top of the ninth, the Dodgers will still bat in the bottom of the ninth inning. Ground ball to Ellis. Why? Because it's spring training. It does seem a little funny. The Dodgers have played 32 games, but obviously they need another half inning. And the Angels have played over 30 games. They need an extra half inning. And as we've mentioned, remember in spring training, Mike Scioscia will not allow his pitchers to swing the bat. Foul ball from Bobby Wilson, 0-1. To Bobby, no score, fifth inning. Matt Guerrier is out of Cleveland, Ohio, lives in Shaker Heights. This spring he was talking about his work with the Dodgers last year. He fell victim to what happens to a lot of young players. His earned run was 4. But Guerrier said he just tried too hard to prove his worth. You know, he had signed a 3-year deal for about $12 million. So he was going to come in there and throw fire, and didn't quite work out that way. That takes care of Wilson. Down go the Angels, so they still have only one hit through 5 innings. And at the end, 4.5, no score. to you by Carl's Jr. $6 Burgers, made with 100% Black Angus beef. Bottom of the fifth inning, no score in a ball game that looks like a mid-season game so far. Irvin Santana has allowed 5 hits but no runs, and the combination of Aaron Harang and Matt Guerrier for an inning, they have limited the Angels to 1 hit. You know, a lot of things happened last year worthy of note. In looking at Santana, we talked about his no-hitter. And the Hall of Fame received, among other things, a bat used by Andre Ethier during his 30-game hitting streak. They got items from the no-hitters by Francisco Liriano, Justin Verlander, and Irvin Santana. They got batting gloves from Dimitri Young, who won the Bob Feller Player of the Game Award from the Hall of Fame Classic. They also got Prince Fielder's jersey. Well, last year, a rather memorable year. The Dodgers now will start off with A.J. Ellis. And we're wondering about Mattingly, how he's playing it, and he's playing to win. He's playing this game as if it were a regular game. When he brought in Hairston to go with Matt Guerrier, Guerrier will bat 7th, and Hairston will bat 9th. Well, that's a mid-season disposition of players. Meanwhile, A.J. Ellis hit by a pitch, and he is hurting as he goes down to first. He didn't want to rub, but you can tell that really hurt. Making it to first base on his own, got him right on the elbow and then the hip. I think it was the elbow. Yep, maybe just above the bone, hopefully on the bicep. So A.J. Ellis will be tended to. Greg Harrell, an assistant athletic trainer with the Dodgers, is out there. And from the force of the hit, the Dodgers are going to refuse to hesitate. Justin Sellers will take over. So Santana hits Ellis. That is a very tough break to be hit this close to opening day. And you can only hope that it's a bruise and not a severe one at that.
Third baseman, Jerry Hairston Jr.
So Justin Sellers running for Ellis. Jerry Hairston Jr. may not even know it, but he will now become the answer to a trivia question. You probably know he's from a long line of major league players. Before Tim Lincecum of the Giants, there were only 8 men, including 3 Hall of Famers, who had 1,000 career strikeouts in their first 5 major league seasons. Well, on June the 6th, Tim Lincecum got his 5th strikeout of the game, which gave him 1,000 in 5 years. And the strikeout came against Washington's Jerry Hairston. And Lincecum's spikes from that game are now in the Hall of Fame. But Jerry's part of it. Meanwhile, Bobby Wilson out to talk to Santana. Eric Ibar to the mound. One ball and no strikes. So Hairston batting 9th. Sellers, who runs very well at first, nobody out. Bottom of the 5th, no score. 1-1. So Hairston, it has made the club a veteran with great versatility. Jerry first started to play professionally in 1997. Played with a lot of clubs. Jerry's out of Illinois, lives in Maryland, went to Southern Illinois University. First came up to the big leagues with the Orioles in 1998. He'd be 36 the end of May. And he's been with the Orioles, the Cubs, the Rangers, the Reds, the Yankees, the Padres, the Nationals, and the Brewers. So this would be his 9th team. Jerry Hairston. 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-2 the count. Dodgers have had at least 1 man on base in every inning. They have not been able to get a man to third. They've had 2 outs at second base. 1-2 the count to Jerry. 2-2. With the Brewers last year, Hairston hit .274. Most home runs he has ever hit, surprisingly, with the Padres. You don't think of a fellow like Hairston going to hit a lot of home runs because of the size of that ballpark down there. He wound up with 10. Fouled away. For Jerry, the first 3rd generation black major leaguer in history. His dad spent 14 years in the big leagues with the White Sox. He had his uncle John and grandfather Sam. 2-2. Ball 3. So Hairston runs the count all the way. We'll see about Sellers. They'll probably turn him loose. We'll see about Santana, and in a moment we'll see about D. Gordon as well. 3-2. We'll watch Sellers. He is not going. Fouled away. Albert Pujols holding a corner on Sellers over there at first, and Tim Wallach going through the signs. Tough ball game. Sellers was not going 3-2 on the first one. Let's see about this one. There he goes, and it's going to go foul down the right field line, out of play. Another feature, normally you can do it. Now, we talked before about Callaspo, the fact that he never strikes out and he promptly struck out. Hairston is a fella who has never struck out. By never, let's say he has never struck out more than 50 some odd times in a season. Sellers goes. It's ball 4 at the plate. So the Dodgers, on a hit batter and a walk, have 2 on and nobody out, with Gordon, Ellis, and Kemp coming up. So for Mike Scioscia, no one throwing in the Angel bullpen. D. Gordon grounded to short, rolled to short. There was an error charged to Ibar. Ibar backing up and directly behind Justin Sellers. So they're looking bunt from Gordon, and he is swinging and drives it into right field. Hunter was shallow, and because of that, they will hold Sellers. Torrey Hunter was playing up, thinking about the bunt. So the Dodgers have loaded the bases with nobody out. Here comes Torrey, and Sellers stopped by Wallach at third. So Gordon is 1 for 3. Everybody moves up 90. And the batter is Mark Ellis. Bases loaded, nobody out, no score, bottom of the 5th. Mark Ellis singled to center and lined out to center. So Mark 1 for 2, made a nice play to take a hit away from Callaspo in the 5th inning. So standing room only. Sellers at third. Hairston at second, Gordon at first. The infield is up. And a strike. Ellis having a good spring, hit 273. Outfield is deep enough, however. Slider down and dirty. 0-2 the count. Santana has struck out Matt Kemp twice and A.J. Ellis to give him 3 strikeouts in the game. He has now made 63 pitches. Ellis, by the way, has 3 grand slams in his career. Check swing. No swing. Yes. Well, Mark Ellis tried to hold up and was called out. By the way, in talking about Mark Ellis and how many grand slams he had, his last grand slam was against the Angels. But he couldn't do it. Called out on a pitch in the dirt. So now a very, very hungry Matt Kemp. The infield was up on Ellis. They go back into double play depth with Kemp. Sellers, Hairston, and Gordon are all out there. And Santana, who's had a challenge for the 3rd time tonight, trying to get off the hook. And a strike. He has hit a batter, and he has walked 1. Matt Kemp, to refresh your memory, has 6 grand slams. The last one last year against Cincinnati. Little ground foul. So Santana going after the hitters. He got Ellis with a quick 2 strikes, and he comes right back 0-2 on Matt Kemp. Santana, as we mentioned, struck out more last year than the year before. The year before he won 17, last year 11. 0-2 to Matt Kemp. Tantalizing, but he keeps that slider off the plate. 1-2 the count. Pujols is up. Everyone else back. Callaspo, Ibar, and Asturias. Kemp 2 home runs, 12 runs batted in this spring. Fastball on the hands. That's pretty good scientific pitching. He's gotten him on sliders down and away, and with 2 strikes, just in case Kemp was thinking, well, he's going to throw that same slider again. He came in on the hands with the fastball, and Matt was jammed and was lucky to make contact. So still 1-2. No score. Bottom of the 5th. Just off the plate. We mentioned that earlier. It's ironic because he has struck out twice, but he has taken a pitch with 2 strikes so borderline close, and he's gotten away with it each time. 2-2. Wow, that pitch was up. That was not Santana's best fastball. Had that been ball 3, the count would be 3-1. So it's still 2-2. Comfortable advantage for Santana. No score. Bottom of the 5th. Dodgers bases loaded, 1 out. And Kemp, high fly ball to right center. Plenty deep. Vernon Wells makes the catch. Tagging to score is Sellers. Coming over to third is Hairston. And so Matt Kemp finally hangs in there, drives it deep enough, and gets the run home, carried in by Justin Sellers. So the Dodgers take a 1-0 lead, and the batter will be James Loney. That was a pretty good at-bat for Matt Kemp. He showed a little discipline. After having struck out twice, the tendency is to go back up there and overswing to make up for it. So a good at-bat. Sellers scores. Hairston is now at third. Gordon holding at first, but perhaps not for long. Of course, the Dodgers had to be a little bit impressed when Tony Gwynn was thrown out, the quick release of Bobby Wilson. So let's see about Gordon, whether he's going to run and whether he'll go early in the count. And Loney takes matters into his own hands and grounds out. So for the Dodgers, they huff and they puff and they get one. And at the end of 5, thanks to Matt Kemp, 1-0 Dodgers. They won 13 out of 18 from the Padres. So the Dodgers have been given a great opportunity to get off to a good start and increase the lead. Hope you'll join us Thursday to begin the season, and then of course here at home on the 10th, and we'll see about the Dodgers and whether they do get that good start or not. And for now, let's go back to this ball game.
Number 3, Adam Kennedy. And at first base, number 37.
Dodgers making wholesale changes now. Angel Sanchez will take over, tall, lean right-hander, and the Dodgers change the entire infield. Jerry Hairston is at third. Justin Sellers is at short. Kendry Morales is coming up. Kendry will come in as a pinch hitter. Josh Fields is at first base. Matt Trainer is now behind the plate. So from now on, it becomes a minor league exhibition game in some ways, but it's a typical exhibition game. Play as many as you possibly can. Kendrys Morales had that famous broken ankle after hitting a grand slam home run. One of the strangest and perverse moments, in the sense, from such great glory. The enthusiastic jump in the air to land on home plate, and he hasn't played really since. Well, you certainly wish Morales well, welcome him back, and hope he has a big year. Angel Sanchez out there on the mound is from the Dominican Republic. He's 6'3" and about 175 pounds. 1-2 the count. Bad ball, chased it, and down he goes. So Morales, batting for Santana, strikes out, 1 away. Considering the fact that he hasn't played since 2010, he's had a rather remarkable spring. Kendrys Morales was hitting .423 when he struck out. Here's Eric Ibar. Ibar flied to right, grounded to first, 0 for 2. If you are perhaps going through spring training of your own and you are keeping score of this game, it's 1-0 Dodgers. We're in the 6th inning. The Angels have gone down 10 in a row since his tourists walked. The Dodger run driven in on a 2-ball 2-strike count with the bases loaded. Fly ball by Matt Kemp. And with the changes, we'll give them to you slowly. 1-1. Big bouncer to the hole and finding its way through. So Eric Ibar, who had flied to right, grounded out, grounds a single into right field. Adam Kennedy, who is now playing second base, could not get close to that. Kennedy is batting 7th in the Dodger lineup. So here's Bobby Abreu twice grounding out to Mark Ellis in the 1st and in the 3rd. Bobby's had a very tough spring. For a veteran, he has had not that many chances to play. And hitting 111. But he has had 50 some odd at bats, 54 at bats. Ibar at first, nobody out. Then after the strikeout from Morales, and I'm just going to say they'll be worrying about Ibar trying to steal perhaps. Ibar stole 30 bases last year. He's the tying run over there. Of course, it's the old story with a left-hand hitter at the plate. It's a question, do you want to run Eric Ibar, or do you want to keep Josh Fields on the bag and open up the right side of the infield? The outfield is shaded to left just a little. 2-0 the count. Well, Mike Scioscia ready to make whatever decision he has in mind. Sanchez, 22 years old. He was at Single-A last year. So the Dodgers taking a look at him before sending him out. 1 run, 6 hits for the Dodgers. No runs, 2 hits for the Angels. Way out in front. 2-1 the count. To Bobby Abreu. Abreu has put up some wonderful years. And you know, Abreu has over 250 home runs, 2,000 hits, 1,000 runs scored, 1,000 runs batted in, 1,000 walks, and over 300 stolen bases. That puts him in the company of Barry Bonds, Joe Morgan, Ricky Henderson, Craig Biggio, and Willie Mays. That's on the corner away for ball 4. So with first and second and 1 out, Albert Pujols will be coming up one more time.
Albert Pujols.
So for young Angel Sanchez, he'll be facing Albert Pujols with 2 on, 1 out, and the Dodgers leading 1-0. Pujols has popped up, fly to center. Big bouncer foul, 0-1. One thing about Pujols, every time he comes up to the plate, you have so many interesting notes about him. Ted Williams, who played until he was 42, played 544 night games. And Pujols has played in over 1,100 night games. But what was really staggering, this great player, and he is that, he was passed over 401 times before the Cardinals finally took him in the 13th round in 1999. Can you imagine passing 400 players before they got to Pujols? Now there's a balk charge against the young right-hander. So he is really going through the ringer as Ibar goes to third. Abreu moves to second. But again, it's an exhibition game, and that's what happens. You have the veteran pitchers like Harang and Guerrero, but then you bring in a kid from Single A. Not quite the same. 0-1. And a high fly ball into deep left field. Where do you think that's going to go? Right into the glove of Tony Gwynn. Tagging up and scoring to tie it up is Ibar. And Abreu moves to third as Albert just missed hitting it out. And so young Sanchez can say, I got my man. Yeah, barely. And of course the balk really hurt him. So Albert almost, but not quite. I think when he hit it, he thought it had a chance. Gwynn just kept going back, got to the track, got to the wall, and there it was, right at the 375 sign. Scoring fly ball for Albert. And we have a 1-1 tie. But it's the balk instead of 2 out and runners at first and second. Torrey Hunter lined out to center and flied to center. No balls in 1 strike. 1-1 in the 6th. 1-2. Torrey's had a very good spring, hitting .328, 11 RBIs. Laid on a good fastball. That hurried up there. And it's still 0-2 to Torrey Hunter. Bobby Abreu at third, representing the tiebreaker. 1-1, 6th inning, 2 out. Ground ball to short. Sellers is on it. That'll be that. It was a nice inning, really, for the young pitcher from Single A, except for the balk. That set up the fly ball by Pujols, and at the end at 5.5, a 1-1 tie. bring in the man to pick up for Santana.
Number 21,
Hisanori Takahashi, the veteran coming out of Tokyo, and he'll pick up after Santana worked 5. Irvin Santana was in a lot of trouble, men on base in every inning, but he was tough and allowed just 1 run. So the Dodgers will take a look now at Takahashi. Isanori, born in Tokyo, he was originally signed by the Mets 2 years ago. He pitched for the Tokyo Giants. Then with the Mets, he was in 50 some odd games and was 10-6. Came to the Angels last year and was 4-3. He was a teammate of Hideki Matsui with Yomiuri for 3 years. Pretty famous star as a pitcher in Japan. Broke in with the Hiroshima Carp, then moved on, and here he is in the big leagues. Like most Japanese pitchers, he brings a sack full of pitches. He has a screwball, he has a 4-seam fastball, he has the 2-seam sinking fastball, he has a slider, a cutter, a curveball, and a slight Japanese accent, I guess. I mean, he's got everything. And the hesitation. I have never seen a Japanese pitcher without a hesitation in his delivery. He's 5'10", about 175. 1-0. There's the hesitation. And works a screwball on the corner. 1-1 to count to Juan Rivera. Rod Barajas, before he came to the Dodgers, when Rod was with the Mets, he caught Takahashi, and he said it was a lot of fun. There's a one-hopper off the glove of Ibar, and that'll be a base hit. So Rivera coming back to give the Angels a bad time, and he is 3 for 3. That ball would really hit. Though Ibar has a hot potato burn its way out of the glove. Rivera will come out for a pinch runner. The one not only had 3 hits, he also took an extra base on Bobby Abreu. Matt Angle, an outfielder, basically center fielder, and Angle running for Rivera. Angle an outfielder, so he'll stay in the game. Here's Tony Gwynn in a 1-1 tie, a bunt attempt, and he left it in Wilson's mitt. We were talking about Takahashi, and Rod Barajas said he's fun to catch because he is extremely creative. Both sides of the plate, balls are breaking, moving in different directions. It feels like you're playing a video game and you're making the ball do whatever you want it to. That was Rod Barajas talking about Takahashi. Misses away with the fastball. 1-1. One of those fellows who can start and relieve. At the beginning of this year, his major league record 14-9, so he's done well. Takahashi had a birthday yesterday. The bunt on the chalk and goes foul. Well, Gwynn will have to come back. Takahashi yesterday was 37 years old. So the Dodgers have used Harang, Guerrier, and Sanchez. Santana followed by Takahashi. One and two. That's going to go down the line foul. Still 1-2. We'll remind you every now and then, this is the second reminder, that no matter the score, there will be a bottom of the ninth. One and two. And that's hit to left field and dropping in front of Abreu. So the looping single by Gwynn, who was really trying to bunt, couldn't do it. And it's a fly ball single. Rivera's replacement Angle had to hold up and then move to second. So the Dodgers have again 2 on.
Kennedy.
Nobody out, and Adam Kennedy coming up. Kennedy, of course, a former Angel, a veteran, and we'll see about what they want him to do. The Angels think he might be asked to bunt. Adam trying to hook on with the Dodgers as an extra infielder, and gets the bunt down. Takahashi has to throw to first, and the sacrifice works. So Adam Kennedy does his job, advancing the runners. And with second and third and 1 out, the batter will be Justin Sellers. So Adam gets a greeting. Veteran comes off the bench to play at 35, walks up and gets down the big bunt. So now Sellers. Sellers got into the game when A.J. Ellis was hit by the pitch. Played a few games for the Dodgers last year. He scored the only run for the Dodgers in the 5th inning on the fly ball by Matt Kemp. The infield is up. And a strike. Sellers, a local boy, born in Bellflower, lives in Huntington Beach, went to Marina High School. His dad, a former big league pitcher, played for the Red Sox. Oh, and 1 the count. Dodgers 1, Angels 1. A little low, 1 ball and 1 strike. Hitting 9th in the lineup is Jerry Hairston. Bobby Wilson looking over to his skipper, Mike Sosa, who crouched behind the plate for so many years with the Dodgers. 1 and 1. On the outside corner with a screwball. 1 and 2. I remember seeing Carl Hubbell years after he pitched. He was a great left-hand screwball pitcher with the New York Giants. His left arm was completely turned inward from throwing all the screwballs. 1 and 2 to Justin Sellers in the dirt. Nice block by Bobby Wilson. 2 and 2 the count. So in the inning, Rivera, an infield single, almost took the glove off Ibar. Gwynn, a fly ball single. Kennedy sacrificed. So second and third, 1 out. And Sellers trying to get Angle home and break the tie. 2 and 2. Fastball, little flare into shallow left center. It'll drop. 1 run scores. However, Gwynn falls down, rounding third, and has to go back to the bag. So Tony threw a shoe on the far turn. Here he comes hitting the inside. Instead, his feet slipped on the top of the bag and down he went. So the Dodgers, on a fly ball single by Justin Sellers, get a base hit. Angle brings in the run. The Dodgers lead 2-1. That's the third hit in the inning. And the batter, Jerry Hairston. Hairston, batting in the fifth inning, drew a walk. Aaron Harang, who started the game, had a base hit, almost took Santana's head off. That's a strike. 0-1 to Jerry. 1 out, 1 in. Each side scoring a run. Dodgers had scored earlier in the fifth. So we're in the sixth inning, and the Dodgers lead 2-1. Gwynn is at third. Might have scored had he not fallen down. 1 out. 0-2 to Hairston. Hisanori Takahashi working hard. Dodgers have had men on base in every inning, have not been retired in order. At one stretch of the game, Dodgers had retired 11 in a row. Slider in on the hands. Hairston just able to hold out. In fact, I called that a slider. If I could run it back, I think it might have been a cutter. It just seemed to jump. 1-2. Now a screwball away. 2-2 to Hairston. So you do indeed get the whole store. Screwball, 4-seam fastball, 2-seam sinker, slider, cutter, curveball. One out, runners at first and third. 3-2. Well, immediately Sellers looking over to Davey Lopes to see if he's going. Well, Davey has passed it along. Three and two the count. 1 out. Hairston at the plate. Matt Trainer, the Dodger catcher, is on deck in the leadoff role. Sellers going late on ball 4. Dodgers not sure about Takahashi's move to first base, though that was a cautious run for Sellers on the walk to Hairston. So Mattingly leading 2-1 now, and has the catcher Matt Trainer and Josh Fields, his first baseman, on deck. So Mike Butcher goes out to talk a little bit with Takahashi. Mike is from Davenport, Iowa, and went to school at Northeast Oklahoma. In fact, Mike Butcher in his day was a 4th-round pick by the Royals. Mike has been in the organization a long time. Now the pitching coach trying to help Takahashi. And here is Trainer. Trainer last year was with 3 different teams. Ball 1 to Matt. He was with the Royals, then he was with the Rangers, and then he played a little bit Northwest Arkansas. Matt's from Garden Grove, lives in Anaheim. Misty May Trainer, of course, the famous beach volleyball player. 1 ball, no strikes. And that's going to be banged into left center. 2 runs will score. Dodgers lead 4-1. Stopping at second is Hairston. So Matt Trainer comes up with a key base hit here in the 6th inning. Josh Fields will be coming up now with runners at first and second. The Dodgers piling up the hits. That was hit number 10. And they lead 4-1. So first and second, and Josh Fields finishing up at first base for James Loney. So in the inning, Rivera singled and Angle ran for him. Then Gwynn singled after trying to bunt. Then Kennedy did bunt successfully. Then Sellers got a base hit to score Angle. Hairston walks and Trainer singles to score Sellers and Gwynn. Josh Fields, big boy and a veteran. He's 29 years old. Strike. Fields came up several times with the White Sox in 06, 07, 08, 09. Couldn't stick. Came up again with Kansas City. Spent last year in the minor leagues. Briefly in Japan. He played for Yomiuri. Ball 2. Yomiuri would be, well, it would be like playing for the New York Times. The Yomiuri Shimbun is a big newspaper in Tokyo. I don't know if he ever faced Takahashi or not. 2-1 to count. And Takahashi is struggling now. 3-1 to count. Fields has a lot of power. About 5 years ago, he had 23 home runs for the White Sox. Fouled away. 3-2. Josh is certainly big enough. Mike Scioscia talking about the movement of Takahashi's pitch. Fields is 6'2" and 220 out of Ada, Oklahoma. Hairston at second, Trainer at first, 1 out, 3 runs in, and there's ball 4. So Takahashi making a lot of pitches, 28 pitches in the inning, and that's enough for Mike. So Scioscia coming out. Takahashi has loaded the bases. He's given up 3, and Mike, I believe, is bringing the hook in. And out goes Takahashi, and we'll be right back. The all-new Chevy Cruze Eco, available to order. Chevy runs deep. Hisanori Takahashi gives up 3 runs and 3 hits. He was also a little bit on the wild side, walking too, just to complicate his life. And so Kevin Johnson out of Pensacola comes in. Kevin is 23, went to high school in West Florida and the University of West Florida. He's another signer by the scout Tom Kochman, Casey's dad. They picked him in the 20th round. So they bring in the right-hander, who's a big guy. He's 6'4" and about 240, to face Matt Kemp. Kemp had struck out twice, had a 2-2 count, and had a scoring fly ball to drive in a run. That's a strike, 0-1. By the way, because this is an exhibition game, they bend the rules a little bit. Kendrys Morales, who batted for Santana and struck out, will be allowed to stay in the game as a designated hitter. And of course, they don't play that way in a National League park. They're going to get 2 on Kemp, and that'll be that. So Johnson comes in. Matt Kemp has a rough night, a double play and 2 strikeouts, but he did get a run, and it's 4-1 Dodgers. What's sure to be an eventful season, the largest promotional schedule ever, and the lowest ticket prices in years. To guarantee your tickets to opening day and to Koufax bobblehead night, purchase season tickets or select mini plans today. For more information, visit Dodgers.com/tickets. Couple of more changes now in the outfield. Blake Smith is in right field. Jerry Hairston has gone from third base into left field.
Third base, number 65,
Luis Cruz is now at third base. So for the Dodgers, you have Sanchez pitching to Trainer, Fields, Kennedy, Sellers, and Cruz, Hairston, Angle, and Smith in the outfield. Vernon Wells had a ground ball double down the line to right in the second inning and hit back to the box, 1 for 2, and that's a strike. So young Angel Sanchez, who had to face Albert Pujols, and Pujols' long fly ball accounted for the only Angel run. Sellers up with it, guns it. Now running down to back up the play is not Matt Trainer. Tim Fedorovich, the catcher, has taken over. So the Dodgers changing just about everybody. So we have one away. Alberto Callaspo coming up. Callaspo struck out and Kennedy robbed him of a hit. This time Kennedy just throws him out. 2 down, 7th inning. Mysore Turris coming up. Mysore walked, grounded out, 0 for 1. Dodgers 4 runs, 10 hits. Angels 1 run, 2 hits. That's in there for a strike. You have to really watch Paul Emmels. That right hand is very quick, calling a strike. With all the changes, if you are indeed keeping score, I admire your stick-to-itiveness. Luis Cruz is now hitting in the number 1 spot. Blake Smith, the right fielder, he's now in Kemp's spot. Fedorovich now hitting 6th. That would be Gwynn's spot. And if you have done all of that, we'll keep an eye on Turris. Two and 2. And a drive into center, but there's Angle. So a nice inning for young Angel Sanchez. Pretty jump to go from Class A to pitch to Albert Pujols. And at the end, a 6.5, 4-1 Dodgers. To the ball game, And a reminder, in this fine ball game that was so tight for the first 4.5 innings, Dodgers now breaking out in front 4-1. Left-hander Scott Downs will be coming in. Aaron Harang, 4 very strong innings. Santana gave up a lot of hits, but only 1 run. Dodgers broke through against Takahashi. And now we'll take a look at Scott Downs. Angel Sanchez, the pitcher, is due up, and the Dodgers will have somebody come up and bat for him. Well, bear with us, it is all part of spring training. We know the young fellow's name is Garcia. And first ball hitting, ground ball to short. That'll do it for Jonathan Garcia. 1 away. So Scott Downs comes in, gets an out. Jonathan on his way back to the dugout. And the hitter now is Matt Angle.
Matt Angle.
Angle facing Scott Downs. Four to 1 in favor of the Dodgers. Angle in Rivera's spot. Juan Rivera had a good night with 3 hits, including a double. Angle scored a run running for him and then stayed in the game. Comebacker, but gets away, going all the way through, and the out recorded by the second baseman. You know, you can follow the Dodgers with MLB.com at bat12 for your iPhone, iPad, Android, and Windows Mobile. Get live audio, pitch tracking, video highlights, and more. Text at bat to 31826 or visit Dodgers.com. So Scott Downs gets 2 quick outs, and now Tim Fedorovich coming up. Fedorovich taking over behind the plate. A.J. Ellis started, hit on the elbow, or at least on the arm. Then Matt Trainer picked up for him. Trainer had a big hit to drive in 2, and now Fedorovich with a chance to play. One ball and no strikes. Now 2-0 the count. Tim Fedorovich. You may remember he came up late in the year. Had a couple of impressive games. Tim's from North Carolina. Built like what you would imagine a catcher. He's 5'10" and 210. Went to the University of North Carolina and was drafted by the Red Sox 4 years ago. In the dirt. Fedorovich, the end of July last year, you may remember, came to the Dodgers in a 3-team trade. Eric Bedard and fellow Mariners pitcher went to Boston. Dodgers traded Trayvon Robinson to Seattle. Fedorovich came here. 3-1. And a slicing fly ball to the gap in right center, and it will hit the base of the wall. That's as long a single as you're going to see. So Fedorovich goes the other way and bangs it to the base of the wall. A long single to right center. Dodgers now have 11 hits.
Kennedy.
So now Adam Kennedy will be coming up. Mark Ellis started the game. Adam Kennedy sacrificed in the 6th inning when the Dodgers scored 3 times. And a strike. Dodgers 4 runs, 11 hits. The Angels 1 run, 2 hits, and an error. Big curveball for a strike. Adam Kennedy is basically an uppercut hitter. He hits a lot of fly balls. Most home runs. He hit 13 for the Angels back in 2003. He hit 11 for Oakland 2 years ago, and the breaking ball gets him, and that's that. So no runs, a hit, a man left, and at the end of 7, it's 4-1 Dodgers. Dodger Baseball on KCAL 9 is brought to you by Carl's Jr. $6 burgers, made with 100% Black Angus beef. As we go to the 8th inning, the Dodgers trying to hold on to a 4-1 lead. They had scored 1 run against Santana. Dodgers gave up a run with young Sanchez pitching on the long fly ball by Albert Pujols. Dodgers broke through against a left-hander, Hisanori Takahashi. So leading 4-1, they bring in Scott Rice. Rice will be facing the Angel catcher, Bobby Wilson. Kendrys Morales, remember, the Dodgers have allowed Mike Scioscia to not only use a designated hitter for Santana, but then let him stay in the game. Even though, you know, normally in a National League ballpark, you play nationally rules. But it's an exhibition. It gives Morales a chance to get in another at bat. And here's Wilson. Bobby Wilson grounded out, struck out. Bad hopper to Justin Sellers, who takes care of him. Well, just like that, 1 away.
The designated hitter,
Kendrys Morales, who's from Cuba, and of course was the victim of that freakish accident, suffering the broken ankle. He's from a small town in Cuba. The English translation is Holy Spirit. And quite an athlete. He played 8 different sports in Cuba. He's 6'1", 225. He'll be 29 and near the end of June. And had put up great numbers. In 2009, Kendrys had 34 home runs and 108 runs batted in. And then hitting the grand slam and breaking his ankle, and he hadn't played since 2010. However, if he does get his stroke back and makes the contributions they expect him to make, you put him in that lineup with a Trumbo and a Pujols and a Hunter, and the Angels should have quite an offense. So with 2 out, Eric Ibar will now turn around and bat right-handed. He had flied to right, grounded out, and singled to right. Because of a balk, he took third and was able to score on the long fly ball by Albert Pujols, who has knocked in the only Angel run. Chasing a bad ball, 0-2. Scott Rice. He's big fella working on Ibar. Dodger non-roster pitcher. Little nubber off the glove of Rice. Picked up. Nope. Sellers can't handle it either. It's going to go as a base hit. So Ibar gets an infield single just off the fingertips of Scott Rice, who, by the way, is 6'6". So there's a lot of man to move around on that mound. 6'6", 225. Born in Simi Valley and still lives there. He went to Royal High School. Scott, a veteran, is 30 years old, and in all those years in the minor leagues, he has never made it. That's from 1999 through 2011. 12 years basically in the minor leagues. Scott with Double-A at Chattanooga last year. Jorge Cantu is the pinch runner over at first for Ibar. So Bobby Abreu has grounded out twice and walked. Dodgers 4, Angels 1, 8th inning. One hopper by the diving Kennedy. Up with it in right field is Blake Smith. And the Angels now have runners at first and second. And Mark Trumbo hitting in Albert Pujols' spot coming up.
Mark Trumbo.
Trumbo, normally the first baseman until Pujols came along, has spent all of spring training on the job training, playing third base. Mark, just born to be an Angel, I guess, because he was born in Anaheim, lives in Orange, went to Villa Park High School, and has a lot of power. He had 29 home runs for the Angels last year. 4-1. Ryan Langerhans is the runner at first now for Abreu. So there are two Prince runners, Cantu at second and Langerhans at first. In the dirt. Nice save by Peterovich. Trumbo, very aggressive hitter. His strikeouts to walks about 4-1 last year. A lot of infield pop flies. So 3-0, and with his power, he had 36 home runs at Salt Lake, and then last year 29 for the Angels. So he can hit them. Nothing automatic here. And ball 4. So with 2 out, all of a sudden, puffed Rice not quite. The infield single by Ibar, the single to right by Abreu, and now the walk to Trumbo. So Rick Honeycutt trying to help him, and immediately Alexi Amarista is coming up, and Amarista has had a wonderful spring. So they are expecting wonderful things from Amarista. Amarista in spring training hit .345. He's a kid from Barcelona, but it's Barcelona in Venezuela. Didn't know there were two of them. His first swing in his major league career last year, he doubled and drove in 2 runs in a game where the Angels won. So 2 on, 2 out, and ball 1. Now the bases loaded following the walk to Trumbo, and a 1 ball, no strike. Amarista, by the way, is 5'6" and 150 pounds. He's listed that he can play second base, shortstop, and what he's doing tonight, center field. Well, Rice is in a lot of trouble now, 2-0. Amarista's father was shot to death in a home invasion robbery in Venezuela last November. Just hours earlier, Amarista had talked to his dad. That's a high strike. And when he got that first swing for the double to drive in 2 runs, they asked him after the game, "What were you thinking of?" And the youngster said, "I was thinking of my dad." 2-1. Ground ball, fair ball, Fields to the bag, and the inning is over. No runs, 2 hits and a walk, 3 left. And at the end of 7½, 4-1 Dodgers. Inning, Dodgers leading 4-1. LaTroy Hawkins out of Gary, Indiana, coming in, and LaTroy is trying to make it. He will be 40 in December. Of course, Jamie Moore is trying to make it with Colorado, and Jamie is 49. So Hawkins, who will be 40 in December, has had 18 years in the major leagues. And he was originally signed by the Minnesota Twins 21 years ago. Took him a while, but he came up to the Twins in '95. And outside of a couple of trips to Salt Lake, he was with the Twins from '95 through 2003. And then he became Suitcase LaTroy because he played with the Cubs, the Giants, the Orioles, the Rockies, the Yankees, the Astros, the Brewers, and now the Angels. So the Angels are his 9th team, and LaTroy getting ready to pitch to Justin Sellers. The Angels used 2 pinch runners in the last inning, and now they're employing both of them. Longerhands is now in center field. Amarista, the little guy who was in center, is now at shortstop. Foul back. Trumbo, Mark Trumbo, who had been at first base, goes to right field. Calhoun, that's Cole Calhoun, he moves to left field. Are you really keeping score of this game? No. 1 ball, 1 strike. 1-2. Sellers got into the game as a pinch runner when A.J. Ellis was hit on the elbow. He scored a run in the 6th inning after he had singled, and he also scored a run in the 5th inning as a pinch runner. So he scored twice as the Dodgers lead 4-1. LaTroy Hawkins, they tell me his teammates call him Satch in honor of one of the most colorful pitchers and a good pitcher, Satchel Paige. Three and 2. And ball 4. Sellers, who's now on base again here in the 8th inning. Sellers back in as he goes to first, held on by Cantu. Jorge Cantu is first baseman. LaTroy Hawkins in 2003, he was playing for the Twins. He's going to pitch to Jerry Hairston now, but he came to spring training with a big photo of the great Satchel Paige. And LaTroy, who obviously has a good sense of humor, said, I can understand why you call me Satch. I'm tall, I'm black, I'm skinny, and I have big feet just like Satch. LaTroy was also, they tell me, a very good basketball player. And it's a strike. He's 6'5", 215. Gary, Indiana. Kind of a tough industrial city. I know he was a great fighter. One of the great fighters to come out of Gary, Indiana, Tony Zale. There goes the runner. Hit and run ground ball to the right side. The out will be there. So the Dodgers stay out of a possible double play as they run Sellers. 1 away. And the batter will be Luis Cruz, who is finishing up at third base. So Cruz trying to pick up his man Sellers with 1 out in the 8th inning, and the Dodgers leading 4-1. Cruz hitting .278. He has a home run, 8 RBIs. LaTroy Hawkins trying to get a couple of outs here. Don't forget, this is the 3rd time tonight we've mentioned it, there will be a bottom of the 9th no matter the score. Good fastball for a strike. Luis, a non-roster invitee. He's from Navajoa, Sonora, Mexico. Cruz 6'2" and about 220. Well put together. And probably bangs it to left. Going back on it is Cole. Makes the play. The Calhoun going back to the track to hang in there. 2 down in the 8th inning. And Josh Fields finishing up for James Loney at first base. So a good play out there in left. Mark Ellis started the game and had a base hit in the first inning. Fields got into the game late and walked. He's another non-roster invitee out of Oklahoma, lives in Florida. He's been up a few times with the White Sox and also with Kansas City. Ball one. The paid attendance tonight, 20,009. Obviously another team in the stands. 1 ball and no strikes. Now back. Hawkins has a slightly unusual delivery. What he'll do when he comes out of a stretch, most pitchers will come set at the belt, but he will hide the ball a bit behind his right hip. At least he's been doing it. Let's see if he does it now. Well, we're probably, yeah. Set. And there you go, on the hip. And bouncing it in the dirt. Two and one the count. Fastball low. If you think Hawkins, who's been around for so long, has a bit of a bulldog in him, he has a pit bull tattoo on his upper left arm with the words "Top Dog" above it. Three and one. And a line drive at Amarista, and that'll be that. So we have 8 innings in the books, and as LaTroy Hawkins walks off, Dodgers 4, Angels 1. Bless their hearts, having a lot of fun. Yeah, give me 5. Meanwhile, with the Dodgers leading 4-1 in the 9th inning, Scott Tolleson will take over for the Dodgers. Tolleson, outstanding young pitcher, and we've seen Harang and Guerrier, Sanchez, Rice, and now Tolleson. Scott has had a pretty interesting spring. In fact, a lot of people quite impressed with the way he has pitched. An earned run average, if there be such a thing, about 2.7. Tolleson is 6'2" and about 220. From Dallas, Texas. Lives in Fairview, Texas, and went to Baylor University. He was at single A last year. So like Angel Sanchez, he's making a big jump, even pitching in an exhibition game against major leaguers. And ball one. 1-0. Cole Calhoun, he came into the game late at the plate and promptly bangs it into left field for a base hit. Calhoun opens it up. Remember, this is the 1 in a million game. The Dodgers are leading 4-1. Should they retire the Angels without surrendering the lead, the Dodgers still will bat in the bottom of the ninth, simply because it is an exhibition game. Kalospi has struck out, grounded out twice, robbed of a hit by Adam Kennedy, and takes a strike. 0-1. By the way, we were talking about LaTroy Hawkins from Gary, Indiana. And I said I thought a great fighter came out of there. His name as a fighter was Tony Zale. His real name was Zaleski. And anyone old enough to remember, he had 3 fights with Rocky Graziano that were unbelievable. Zale won 2 of the 3. Middleweights, and they were just ferocious. In those days, they would have a big fight, no television, and then you'd go to the movie theater and see the fight, and they were unbelievable. Zale won 2 of the 3, but they were all in doubt. Tony Zale. 2-1. Velasco 0 for 3. Then is Torres to follow. 4 runs, 11 hits for the Dodgers. 1 run, 5 hits for the Angels. Harang, Guerrier, Sanchez, Rice, and now Tolleson. I think trying to overthrow on that pitch. 3-2. Gillespie checking with Dino Abell, third base coach. 3-2. Runner goes. Ground ball to the right side. The shovel for 1. They count it for 2. That's a nice combination play. Kennedy and Sellers. Quick double play. There's Kennedy making the shovel, hangs it perfectly, and Sellers, who is so quick to grab, run, and throw. So a 4-6-3 double play. 2 out, 9th inning. And the batter is Meiser is Turris. High fly ball into right center. Angle is there. Now normally you'd say that's the game, but remember, not tonight. The Dodgers, despite the fact they are leading 4-1 and they have won the game, are coming up in the bottom of the ninth. to the bottom of the ninth. And if you had the previous two announcements about the fact they were going to do this, you are seeing 1 in a million. 4 runs, 11 hits for the winning Dodgers. 1 run, 5 hits, and 1 error for the Angels. One more game tomorrow between the two. And David Pauly picking up. We're trying to find anything we can. It's hard in spring training and especially now. But anyway, David Pauly ready to whip. And the Dodgers will have Blake Smith to start it off. Blake Smith finishing up in right field for Juan Rivera. On deck, Griff Erickson. There's Griff. Blake Smith, Thomas Downey High School. So he's from Modesto. And Blake rounding out. 1 away, bottom of the 9th inning. And Griff Erickson will be batting now for the pitcher, Tollison.
Number 82, Griff Erickson.
So Griff Erickson, big left-hand batter, checking in. 1 out in the 9th. 4-1 Dodgers. And promptly banged into left center for a base hit. A sprawling stop out there by Ryan Langerhans. So a 1-out single by Erickson. But nothing else for the moment. He gets his feet wet and a line single. Erickson, by the way, his first name is Gorman. And he's from San Diego. But they call him Griff. Now, Matt Wallach, who is the son of Tim Wallach, is coming up to bat. So this will be a nice moment, especially for Tim. And that's fouled away. Matt is 6'1" and 210. He's 25 years old. He was born in West Palm Beach and lives in Yorba Linda. Last year on the DL with a left fracture. Left finger fractured. Matthew Gregory Wallach. 1 ball and 1 strike. With Tim as the coach, Tim played 17 years in the big leagues. Matt has a brother, Brett, a pitcher in the Cubs organization. A hopper at the bag. They're going to get 1. So the force play. The Dodgers now down to their last out, which is funny to say because they've won the game already. Luis Nunez will now come up and bat.
For the Dodgers, batting for Federovich, number 87.
You know, has a really brutal time during spring training. The fella keeping the box score. I mean, the box score is really something. And this ought to do it. Ground ball, force play, and that's it. So the Dodgers, 4 runs, 12 hits, and no errors. For the Angels, 1 run, 5 hits, and 1 error. A fine performance by Aaron Harang. 4 hits, allowed just 1. Make it 4 innings, 1 hit, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. Aaron very much in command. And for the Dodgers, they had men on base in every inning and finally broke through with a run in the 5th and 3 more in the 6th. Well, That was it. From now on, it's going to count. And we'll be talking to you and showing you the Dodgers and the Padres and Clayton Kershaw from San Diego Thursday afternoon, April the 5th. Till then, we wish you all a very pleasant good evening.